All right, little deep dive. Deep dive. Myself personally, I've had a bunch of experiences. A bunch. There's many that have, but not all are the same. Some people had experiences with, beings from this realm in different time sets, different parts of galaxies, etc. When you're seeing orbs, when it's orbs, you're talking about angels, you're talking about deities from a higher realm. All right, you're not talking about beings from this galaxy. You're talking about higher dimensional beings. They're the same beings from all of your books. They were in the Bible. They're in the Quran. They're in the Tao. They're in the stories of Atlantis. They're in the rituals and the stories from the Mayans. They're in also more extensively under different names through the principles of India. You'll find them a lot through the East Asia. Many names. Now, which is more relevant and where you'll find more information that's going to help the individual or individuals that are seeing orbs is in Scandinavian texts. Scandinavian texts will tell you more about Thor, okay? This is one way. I'll have to remind you right now, sure, yes, Thor is real, but for the most part, guys or girls, you're dealing a lot with these deities, these different deities. There's many good deities. There's some bad deities. When you're experiencing the orbs and such, you might have a run of luck where you're dealing with, mixed feelings. You're a bit angry. I already know that each one seeing them is a definite fighter. You got fight in you. You got lots of soul in you, or you wouldn't be seeing anything. Now, all that being said, I'll try to stay on topic. For me, I go a mile a minute, especially if I find somebody or see somebody that's similar. As for a long time in my own period, I was confused. I thought I was looking at aliens and all this jazz. That you're not looking at aliens, man. Or, this isn't that. It's not what you're seeing. That's a good way to confuse yourself into not seeing and being disturbed and allowing a bad entity to encourage mixed feelings and confuse you. That road's going to lead you, obviously, to a shit path where you're either fighting, very disturbed internally, hostile, etc. What you should work on when you're seeing these types of beings, see, I kind of jumped a topic here. I'll do my best to keep it in a straight line for you. It's easier said than done, of course. It's exciting. But anyways, what you should worry about dealing with if you're seeing stuff like this is a spiritual initiation. And this is why I brought up the Scandinavian text. The Scandinavian text will go on telling you more about spiritual initiations than any other manual you'll find out there. Currently, you have the churches and all this. They want you to believe that there's only the one road and etc. Now, the Bible isn't complete false, okay? It's telling a lot of truths. All of these books are telling a lot of truths. Now, chances are, if you're seeing this stuff, you already knew all that. You felt it internally. So, that being said, I call the big guys from the Bible, your saints, Jesus, I call these ones the achieved. Not all saints are achieved. Some of them are back, by the way. I'm sure you're learning this by now. If not, well, welcome to School 101. Anyways, enough of that. It's a long video if I were to do this entire. I'm going to try to give a short, condensed version to help clarify, since when I come off speaking, I can come off high-vibed, and my high vibe can leave the individual like, holy shit. It's regular for me. Don't worry about it. I get excited when I'm around people that are similar or able to speak freely or able to speak to people who are actually able to see. That's not a normal thing, right? As I'm sure you've already known. It's a good thing. It's a fucking great thing. But you gotta work on it, or you can lose it. I'm still working on it. I'm sure everybody is. If you were done working on it, well, we wouldn't be speaking this way. I'll tell you that much. That is what I call the achieved. Others in the books call it ascending. And all of this. Those are real. This is real. It's not fake. Now, if they're showing up to you and you were in a troubled time, Well, that's because they don't want you to be troubled. They're trying to help you. If you found my stuff and vice versa, I found yours through somebody else, well, same MO. You're supposed to be helping each other. It's a team game. It's not an individual game. If you go off making a channel about it in order for fame and this and that, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of followers. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of people. But will you do the work internally on your own? On your own being, I mean? Probably not. Eventually you might lose your sight. There's actually multiple high priests in history. You'll find them actually within the Bible. And they lost their sight for it. That was the Urim and Thummim principle. It was also something they used. Now, that story being said, it was a long story. I'll condense it. This is where one high priest told to another high priest. So, Jesus worshipped the Most High God, the one original God. I call it Jupiter. Honestly, the essence of him is so big and vast that we're probably never going to see him up close. But this is why we're seeing the angels and the other deities. When you hear that, try not to go, well, that's not real. There is no other deities, right? That's complete bullshit. You're already seeing them. You already know that. You already have seen that. Once you learn this more in depth, my whole experiment that I'm doing with this channel was two things. One, I'm looking for people that see. Two, when I tell them the information that I know, I'm hoping that from this you either get closer and you have a closer experience, right? Much closer experience, like we're talking like right up close, trying not to shit your pants. And then also, we're going to wake the rest of them up. Wakey, wakey, hands off snakey, you know what I mean? That being said, that's kind of a bad joke, not going to lie, for the topic. But it is very fitting considering the snake would be represented in evil and etc. Now, I won't get onto the dragons yet, alright? But dragons are real. I've already seen one of them. When I looked it up, I found the saints and etc. They seen the dragons too. Then I went back into further text and I found that Jesus was even talking about dragons. But he didn't call them evil the way the Bible did. He called them majestic and loving beings, which obviously is true. Now, maybe not everybody's going to see a dragon. That's all cool. I'm sure you're going to see all sorts of things on your own, right? The sayings, each their own. I'm going to try to stay on point here. That's something I've seen. Something I've seen close up this year, just the day after Easter, was Minerva with her dragon. I've learned to call her Fae. I seem to find a lot more information under Fae, and I can tell you the spiritual initiation part that I'm telling you of all now comes from the Scandinavian text. The Scandinavian text for Minerva, which is the Roman name for her, and the Egyptian name for her. Fae is a more newer name for her, but very much fitting, and actually you'll find a lot of information under that name. Now, if you haven't seen her yet, I hope one day you do, but it's not really everybody that gets to see her. There's other deities, there's other beings, we've got angels, we've got other ascended, right? Anyways, now I kind of went off track with that one, telling my experience. I should have left that one out for a minute. That's just one of them. That's one of them that put me onto the spot where I was re-woken up, and I want to make sure that I find everybody else and change what needs to be changed in a proper manner, of course, with all respect, and make sure that we get more spiritual. At least for myself, I know that's what's happened. And through being more spiritual, I'm sure most of you have already found on your own, if you're watching this, that's the way to grow. Now, it's all right if you choose one specific way and you believe that is the only specific way. That is fine. What you'll need to learn later is just to be open to adjustment to the fact that you have to grow the story more in depth. A good example of this would be somebody explaining to you AD and BC, okay? These are irrelevant time frames, BC and AD. It's a good time point when you're speaking about one ascended, but again, you're limiting yourself to only one area in time. If you limit yourself to one area in time, you're never going to see the whole picture. That's kind of why there's multiple of us now popping out of everywhere. I've noticed so far now that there's one in Australia, there's one North Florida, there's apparently one South Florida. That guy seems funny. He seems like he's a good person to laugh with, that's for sure. Texas there, good job, buddy. Good job, man. Appreciate it. My whole page here was actually to make sure that if anybody types in orbs and angels and they're trying to find them, etc., well, I'm hoping that only the ones that are actually seeing find first. This is why there's no publicity on this. This is why it's not a channel where I'm song and dancing stuff to sell to people. I'm not selling you nothing. I'm down to help. I'm down for new friends, which is, if you're seeing, I bet you're having a hard time making a bunch of new friends unless you're bullshitting and selling stories, right? I'm not going to do that. So if I have a hard time finding new friends, no fucks have been given. That's for sure. But it is a normal vibe that I put off where people get a holy shit moment. That's a normal thing. So if you've already thought that about me, or thinking that after hearing just this short little bit, totally get it, man. Totally get it. Don't worry about it. It's my own thing to own. Nobody else needs to worry about that shit. Now, let's get back on topic here. You'll find these deities throughout history. I find myself, it's best and easy to stay with the facts. Unfortunately, some of them have tried to label this under paganism. This isn't exactly the truth. That's not true. The truth in the matter is that there is angels, there is higher dimensions, lower dimensions, and other realms. There is angels in general that are created directly from, okay? And then there is deities who are also directly from him. They're directly made from God. And some people, they have a hard time with that. So if we have to put it into a simpler form, if I to put it as simply, this is not a word, but whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. It is this, that's an overall consciousness that creates everything. The fabric of magic underneath each and every one of us. You're not exactly just a person. That's not how it works for anybody. In fact, take a second right now and think of the word spore. All right? Say spore. In your head, not with words. Just say it in your head. All right, I'll give it in a second. I hope you went along with it. If you did you hear yourself internally think this? Because if you heard your own voice with that or any other thought, I don't care if you don't like the word spore, use a different word. I don't care. But anyways, while hearing that, the proof that you should have received with that is that, yeah, there's the inner you and this body you, right? So that's a true story. With that true story, you need to realize that things are spiritual. Things aren't exactly just, cut cloth. Oops, dropped my other phone. Excuse me. You've got more to it than just a body. And that's cool. That's a hard thing to chew on, so don't worry, I'm not going to go into the depth right now. I just want to make a very, very good point that there's you, and then there's the internal you. The internal you is what's allowing you to see. That's the part that actually believes, that actually has faith, that actually understands. Now, whether or not you're in denial going back and forth in your own head, I'm fucking sure of it. All right? This is regular. As for feeling upset or having issues, if I notice that you're having issues and I personally reach out to you, I'm not calling you any names. I'm not calling you tough, weak, or anything in between. I'm simply just wanting to remind you that you're not weak. You don't see by being weak. That's not even an option, all right? Otherwise, you would have seen everybody else out there fucking seeing and saying this. They're not, are they? That's because they're thinking that it's aliens. Why are they thinking that it's aliens? Because they don't have a belief system internally, man. There is none. Their belief system is in the fabric that they can knock on and touch. That's their reality currently. It's unfortunate. It's a sad scenario. That's not the truth. The truth is what I've been saying. There's realms, dimensions, higher, lower, and right here. I call this place Terra 3. Other people call it Gaia. Other people call it Earth. I prefer Terra 3. It's more original to the time frame, in my understanding at least. Now let me try to get back on direction here because I'm getting a little bit up, down, over, and you know what I mean. Sorry, I'm grabbing this. I quit smoking, mate. Well, kinda. This is my crutch for quitting cigarettes. Oh, also best noted that you shouldn't do any drugs. Shouldn't try not to drink. It's cool to get drunk and relieve stress, because trust me, if you're on this road, you're gonna feel some of that. It's quite different. Absolutely normal. Most of the time it'll lead you to the love and light. That's the way. Sounds corny, whatever, you're gonna get there. That's the way. So try not to do drugs when you're doing any of this stuff. Try to understand that you're in a spiritual initiation if you are viewing and seeing. In doing so, you should be able to grow further. Once you grow further, you should be able to get closer. Once you get closer, you might get lucky and get directions right off the hop. Most of the time you don't, though. Most of the time your directions will be off visual sighting, and you'll have to go and look and learn. There's a reason for that. That's so you can grow. If somebody handed you a plate and it was packed, you would just eat it and not really care, right? But if you were handed a plate, then you realized, well, I need to eat. There's nothing on the plate yet except for the plate itself. You're going to look to fill the plate, right? In doing so, you're filling the plate with the right things. With the right things help you grow. What happens when you eat? You build some muscle, right? You work it out and you build muscle. This is what you're talking about. You're going to work it out. You're going to build the muscle. This is a metaphor. Probably could have used a better analogy, to be honest, but this is a rough draft. I'm just throwing it out there because in order for me to write these things in one order, fucking I go high vibe like no tomorrow, all right? Also, best noted that it's safe to understand and assume that everybody's one. So if I know that you're seeing and I say you're definitely brothers, that's exactly what I mean. That is exactly what I mean. It doesn't matter you're from here, they're from there. None of that shit matters. You're all one. Even the ones that can't see are still all one. They just don't realize it yet, and this is why they're fighting with each other, being so greedy, and they don't want to share, etc. Well, what does that get us? Sure, maybe one day this greed and mentality will make you get something and you'll feel all special about it, but on the inside you're as hollow as a tree that's dead. You know? Forget that noise. Just understand that everybody's all one. Treat them the same, whether they're good or bad. This is another idea that's a concept that doesn't really exist. It exists in a judgment. The judgment will not help you. It won't help the other one either. It'll push the other one away and make you feel offense to it. This might be the longest video, and actually might be the only video where I'm actually speaking about this. That's because, well, it doesn't usually go over too well. Most of the time it won't go over too well. I've been still looking for everybody that's similar. I'm nowhere near done. Nowhere near done. And then after I'm done with that, we're going to all have a piece to the puzzle. Some of these people that are out there that have pieces to the puzzles, they give it to you willingly. They're even going to respond to you openly. You know, whether or not you're liked by that person at the time is a different story. I found that out personally myself multiple times. Still don't give a shit. Because eventually, it all comes back. It's all one. So I'm not too concerned with that. Not at all. So that being said, I've let you know that this is about spiritual initiation. You should practice on cleaning your body. For the most part, I bet that some of you are already clean as a whistle when it comes down to that. This is how you got there. If you happen to be younger, keep working hard, because the world's going to keep trying to kick you in the kneecaps, and so's what I call the bad team. It's where, the shit energy. The people around you, when you're talking about this, they might attack you. They might say that's not reality. Get your head out of the clouds. For me, myself, I had my own father tell me that that's not real. I've got videos to show you. I've got stuff I can tell you. I've got books I can pull and show you the references. In fact, you can go find these books from history and you can pull your own references. You can put this together. And I hope you do. I really do. But my own personal job here is to sort of drop information about history bits. Do not look up magic, black magic, and think you're going to get somewhere with this. This is going to destroy your internals. Okay? Sure, some of it works. Don't go near it. That's a hard warning. That is a hard warning. You can use all sorts of, in fact, you're seeing right now, if you're able to see right now, you're already using a form of magic. This is already the form of, this is a pure form. Stay to it. Don't fuck around with it. All right? Listen and do your best. Your goal, if you're able to see, is to grow your eyesight. What you're seeing within an orb, it's not just an orb, buddy. There's more in it than an orb, buddy. But this is something I'm working on, training the eyes. If you can train the eyes, you can see more. And I don't mean a guy named Seymour, all right? I'm talking about you'll actually learn to see more. Just kidding. That was a corny joke, all right? Corny joke. But anyways, let's see. What else can I say that will help right now? That's a lot to help. I can go off on my own experiences, and since this is the first video that I've actually put out with my face on it like that, talking about this, I just might. But for now, I'll keep it to the points that are probably going to be needed for the ones that are looking. Now, I'm not trying to say that if you grew and you were able to see because of one specific religion, I'm not discrediting that. In fact, I'm actually want you to know full-heartedly that all of those are one. All the way one. In fact, if you want to start getting this correct, you're going to start going to 5 BC. And remember what I said about the BC and AD, right? It's there to confuse you. This is a true story. Right now, do you really believe that it's 2022 AD? But then you can go backwards an equal amount to BC, and then you're pulling skeletons from 11,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago, dinosaurs from whatever date they carbon dated to. This is enough to prove the timeline story malfunction. Enough said right there, right? Disregard that and understand that the time frame was changed in order to make sure that people don't grow. Period. Also, they changed the calendars, the festival dates. This is actually important, because if you're able to see and you have an understanding, if you made it this far, you have an understanding. But the festival dates are also different. These festival dates are used for worship. Worship shows devotion. Devotion and dedication helps you grow. It's very hard, and sometimes there'll be days when you might miss one of your own rituals, so to speak. Dedications, I guess, not rituals. Rituals and dedications is nonetheless the same. But there might be days when you don't make your own dedication. Don't worry about that. Just, give the conscious prayer and thought and let them know. They hear you, buddy. Whether you're in your car right now or you're in your house or, whatever the case is, good, bad, or other, they hear you. This, especially if you're seeing. If you're seeing, you're already plugged in, buddy. So try to grow it, or you can unplug. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to stay unplugged. They're going to come back and wake you up. Trust me, I figured that out, and I'm happy that I did, because I wouldn't change it for anything. I'll take all the hate, keep it coming, all good with me. As long as I keep growing and understanding. Now, this whole video here is way out of my own comfort level, okay? So I understand how some might not be in a comfort level to even talk. So today, I've made this video because I've just recently learned of 2 more awesome individuals from 2 different spots, both in the States. I won't name them, and when they want to be named, I'm sure they'll name themselves. All right? It's not my place to put people on blast here. Nor would I. I'm all rooting for home team. Period. Let's see, what else can be said that will be useful information for you? Oh yes, understanding that there is no limitation between that. I went to the 5 BC to make the point that the deities from the stories of Olympus and Atlantis and Egypt, these are accurate. These are 100% accurate. In fact, if you are only stuck with just the Bible, totally fine. Understand this. Jesus was born, and when he turned to a teen, he disappeared. He went away for a while. He came back as an adult. Well, during that time, he went down to Egypt. He studied with the high priest. The high priest kept him safe. Now, you might think, well, that's bullshit speculation, etc., right? Okay, cool. Let's just go to the Christmas story and understand that the story itself for Christmas wasn't about the birth was prior to, etc. This has been proven, documented, etc. But there's an important truth hiding in that story, in the Christmas story. The 3 wise men followed what? They followed a star. The star led them to him. Now, that story sounds very similar to a reincarnation story. The reincarnation story bringing them to the high priest, the chosen high priest of that time. I might be losing you at this point. You might be like, what the fuck, right? No problem. The simple fact that I'm trying to point out to you is that orbs are the same things that they were looking at then as you're looking at now. And this is the truth. Another point would be in ancient Rome. Ancient Rome, and even for ancient Greece, they would take off onto their ships and set sail. They would follow the stars at night. There was no GPS. Well, sometimes the stars were orbs. They will follow the orbs. This is actually how the Centurions and the Trojans got their helmet. The helmet's made from Minerva. The one that I said that I saw in April, that's her helmet. She trained them to fight. She taught them how to be warriors. True story. They were following an orb. This is the story that you'll find from the Elysians. This is a very hard one to find. You gotta have certain books and understandings to even know of the Elysians, to be honest. But now you know about them. This was the Romans. The Romans were taken there. After that, they went further down, Spain, Greece, etc., traveled about, usually for war. They found out that the spiritual beliefs were the same. A lot of people had their spiritual beliefs that were the same, and together they adopted them as brothers. Not as a different person, not as a different race from over there. They understood that they were all one. Now, we'll fast forward to some sketchy shit, okay? This is a big fast forward, by the way. I'll actually do it in increments. Then you have 5 BC. The Roman Empire decided that they were going to attempt to take control. They've done a very good job of that, by the way. That shit is about to change. That's a true story. Anyways, at that time there, they went and they rounded up Jesus. He's the first famous one that you're hearing about where this happened to. Jesus wasn't telling you anything different than any other person who's spiritual is telling you. That everybody is one, that everybody is connected to the consciousness grid, and that everybody can easily understand and grow. That's a true story. They didn't like that because in doing so they couldn't control people, right? And that's fine. People to a certain extent need to understand the control mechanisms around them in order for them to live a decent life. Because unfortunately we got some bad people out there. So there is a certain line where that needs to be drawn, but your spirituality is not that line. Your spirituality is meant to be full throttled, as I say, and fully learned and fully understood. That being said, they went off and, tried to kill him. I say tried because, come on guys, you really think that the other good guys are going to let these guys die knowing that they're dealing with, fucking monkeys at the time? Of course not. And you don't think that there would be somebody else to jump in the place? Of course there would. But anyways, nonetheless, let's, for skepticism's sake, let's say that they did. There's another true story that happened behind there, is the resurrection, right? Okay, so let's say Cornelius didn't use snake venom. Let's say that he actually stabbed him in the side. He did stab him in the side, but just not deep. Snake venom. You're talking about a trained guy here, right? He knows where to put that spear. Anyways, the resurrection story is still an ascension story. Now, most people don't ascend until their deathbeds. That's a spiritual goal to be obtained. Very key story there. Anyways, they get him out of there. He travels away, etc. This is another version of the story. If you want to just accept the only version that you might believe or know in, that's fine, but I think you're missing the part where I said you're going to need to adjust along the way. That's fine, though. If you can't deal with that, I get it. I totally get it. For argument's sake, we're going to say that he died that day. For argument's sake, okay? 3 days later, he ascends. 3 days. These numbers are all connected. 3, 5, 7, 12, 14, so on and so forth. 33, it goes all the way up, I believe, to 86. I'm still working on the mapping of that, so I know the basics, and I can easily pull out a book and read them off, etc., and narrow it down for you, and in time I will. But for now, I just want to focus on the part of keywords. Ascension. So at that time, 3 days after he was put to death for telling you the truth and being spiritual, he ends up resurrecting in that version of the story. Either way, nonetheless, he did ascend. You're talking about an ascended master. Ascension's a real thing. That's what you're seeing flying around. You're seeing the higher realms. Now we're going to shift gears a little bit, just a little bit, and we're going to take it to Egypt. Before the Romans went down to invade Egypt, this was, I think, well before 5 BC, by the way. Again, this is why your time frames are a bit whacktacular. Now, at that time there, the Romans come down for an invasion, and they find that everything is there, but there's 0 people around. They didn't vanish and run away. They collectively, as a whole, connected and ascended to higher dimensions. Now, right now, I know I got people diving off the deep end and stuff, right? Don't worry, there's water on the bottom. It's not cement. Anyways, so they all get there and figure out, well, everybody's gone. Everybody's left. And all this arm's getting a little bit lazy holding this phone. I don't really normally do this, as you can tell. In fact, this is a long-ass video. Holy. Now, we're going to go over to the West. The West later on, through the time frame, somewhere around 1100, somewhere around there. Don't mark me on the time. We just finished discussing the dates. We're a little bit fucked. Now, from that point there, people go to invade the Mayans. Well, don't they get there and find out that the entire civilization, the artifacts are there, the pyramids are there, the temples are there, the Mayans are gone. Again, the same story. They left. Both of these sides, from Egypt to Mayans, from Egypt to Mexico, you're talking about Atlantis. You're talking about the original factor of Atlantis. There was 2 brothers. One is Amun-Ra, go home team. And then there's 2, Amun-Ra, again, go home team. Then you have the other deities. Now, some people will have you believe that later on these pharaohs and etc. That's fine. The pharaohs were there. They were all trying to do the same thing, but they specified it slightly different. They wanted to turn themselves into gods, right? That's not the goal. In fact, let me be clear. You shouldn't have a goal. A goal is going to slow you down. As I put it, you don't have goals, you don't have achievement as goals, you have achievements to obtain. I said that still backwards. It's lucky I didn't actually put it totally backwards. That happens. So these guys are from Atlantis. They're the originals. They're in a form of the names that we're able to understand at this time frame. And that's who we would call the gods, right? Now you still have the one main god who created absolutely everything. That's a true story. Nothing exists without it. They try to classify it with their Big Bang, etc. All this nonsense, right? That's there's semi-truth to the Big Bang thing, but not in the aspects that they put it. More or less in the creation of he sparked everything. You know the stories, I'm sure you do. What was it? There's a part that's missing from that Bible there, though. It's seventh day he said, "Let there be light," and the people stopped right there. Yeah, no, let there be light, and the light was good, and he divided the light from darkness. Is the line that's missing. True story. There's many missing lines, many missing pieces. This all needs to be changed in order to figure it out. Each person that comes across this, if you're already on that road and you've made it 35 minutes, which I won't hold my breath because there's only a handful of you that are going to give a shit about this. The rest are not. They're not going to be able to even stomach it. In fact, they'll stop at the beginning and they'll say, well, this isn't right. This is the wrong beliefs. They'll hit you up with all sorts of nonsense. Trust me. Let's see. What else is super important as a rundown? This one I'm going to probably take down at some point. Just to put it in the right order. This is sort of like a rough draft. Because I was excited myself to see another 2. I only knew of 3 other ones prior to, and one of them did their own show, or did his own thing with the show. Super nice guy. I don't want to say his name because I don't feel I have the permission to do so. Not to mention, I personally don't believe in piggybacking. I don't believe in that shit. I believe that each one of us shall work together, yes. But when everybody's together and they want to work together, then yeah, by all means, drop as many names as you want. But until then, I understand how my vibe can come off very different. Very, very, very different. But I'm not lying to you. I can back it up with the stuff that you see below. And if that's not enough for you, well, you're shit out of luck and you're on your own. Just kidding. You're not going to be shit out of luck and on your own. I'm still going to help. I'm still going to do my thing. And eventually you'll do your thing. Just a matter of how, when. Let's see where to go from there. I guess I should wrap this one up because it's extremely long already. And then I'll do another one shortly where I'm gonna wrap off my experiences. This isn't for a show. I don't want a show nonsense out of this. I'm doing this right now to make sure that other people understand that if you're able to see, you're in a spiritual initiation. And the steps in order to work through your spiritual initiation is to study, to grow. Sounds simple. Not so simple. The books are scattered, the people are scattered. So, I've been searching for a long time. Now, I'll leave it at this, so you get a better understanding of how and why it's taken me so long. It has taken me so long because I thought I was only looking at aliens. I know I mentioned that earlier, but once I realized and I heard a different story of somebody telling me, telling everybody to be exact, that they were angels, I adjusted my belief. Remember that thing about adjusting? I already believed in angels. I already believed in God. I already believed in all that. But I didn't correlate that those two are together. Didn't correlate that. Didn't understand it. Right? Why would you? Everyone wants you to believe that it's not. That's the lie. In fact, then you'll go through your books, and I could wrap off some Bible spots for you that you can find a lie or two, alright? You want to hear one of them? Revelations 20. That's a fucking lie right there. They go on telling you that God and the angels fought Minerva and her dragon and kicked them out, and they're not the same. That's absolute horseshit. They're the same. They're brothers and sisters. They didn't fight each other. There's only one bad one that started a rebellion up there, and that part is true. And that story there from the Bible actually comes from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. The Egyptian Book of the Dead names that gentleman, well, actually that dick, I don't know what to call him, that being, let's call him that being. His name is Set. and he also flies throughout the sky trying to trick people. You also have jinns, which classify as demons. You have angels, the opposite of them, the good team, go good team. If you don't understand these things, you can easily go into drugs. You can easily get into drinking. You can easily get into fighting. If you're seeing and you're like this type of person, you're going to be very sensitive to that. You're going to understand, and most likely you'll have the ability to stand beside people around you and feel and know what they're going through. Now that's probably not going to get you liked so many places, right? But once you understand that about yourself, you'll be fine to work around it and try to help others. Easier said than done. I'm still working on all that, and I know it, okay? So I don't know how else to put that for you there. Very important. Spiritual initiations will come with dedication. You'll have to study. You're gonna have to study. If you never picked up a book or whatever, I can probably guarantee this much though. When it comes to these topics, when it comes to spiritual topics, if you're this type of person, you're gonna devour it like it's the freshest water out of the stream. But when it comes to, say, studying of a different kind, maybe you don't even make it through a book or two. You fall asleep at the first paragraph. I'm speaking for my own self there. You give me a book on mathematics, buddy, I'll be snoozing by chapter 1. All right, I didn't even make it off the 3rd page. I'll yawn my ass to sleep. You give me something to do with spirituality, well, I'll go on and on and on and on and on and on. I'm working on dropping this thing. Did kick back on the nicotine and all this jazz, but I used to smoke heavily. I would smoke more herb than Bob Marley can even dream. I recently found that all of those things are gonna harm you in your progress. You need to be clean, clean mind, clean body, and you're gonna have to eat a fuckload of pain. A lot. It's gonna come from everywhere. People around you, friends, enemies especially, obviously. But the ones that will probably hurt the most will be the closest people to you, right? Family and such. Only a handful are going to have cool family members around them to be able to help out. Don't worry about playing the violin about it. I just made this long ass video so you know that you're not alone, because I just learned indefinitely that my original assumption was looking to be correct, and I'm definitely not alone. Whether or not I'll remain alone, that's a different story, and I don't give a shit. Like I just told you, I'm not a violin player, all right? We're not kicking off an orchestra here. Oh man. But anyways, feel free to reach out anytime. I've got a lot more information than that. A lot more. I'm currently working on putting it all within an order. It's going to take a little bit of time, obviously. And recommendations. If you haven't hit this point already, I would recommend meditation. That helped me adjust very well. I appreciate the people that put the information out there. I appreciate the people that are actively and willingly and always putting it out there. And I appreciate the tools that have been lying around in order to do so. Because there's a handful of really good tools out there that you can get an app on, you could buy a CD on, and you could listen to it, and it will kick you into meditation within 10 minutes. If you're already seeing, buddy, I'm telling you the truth, this stuff will kick you in. Now, the hard part when learning to meditate is keeping yourself not from passing out during it. You're not really sleeping, but that's not the point. It's really hard to stay focused on that. I find that if you already went in tired, you're good to train on it because it's going to recharge you. If you're seeing right now, use meditation to charge you. Use it. Reach out. I'll tell you which apps I use. We'll go from there. Me personally, I would love for the people to reach out on that one. The ones that do see, I would love it. I have my own personal sort of dream. It's a mini dream. It's a reality, but it's whatever. Play on words. Just don't play with yourself. Whoa. Just kidding, man. I don't want to know. All right. I don't want to know. Bad joke for the topic. Anyways, my personal dream though is to have these people working together. Now I'm fucking this close into a puzzle that's bigger than my arms can reach. And if you're seeing, you're the same probably. I'm hoping a lot further. Hoping. Fingers crossed, really do. And yeah, I'll just wrap it up on that. This is fucking way too long. Like I kind of feel like redoing it, to be honest, because I put things way out of order. And it's probably really hard to follow. And that's what I meant about my vibe can go high, where I can rattle on for a while. It's best if I would have wrote this prior to and stayed within a stage of how to explain it. But I have rattled off a lot of key points in there that will help people. It will help you a lot. Still, though I rattle it off, I still do hope that I grow some friends from this, because working together, I'm sure will work better. And I'll probably end it at that. Either way, I hope you're all amazing. Have a great day. Even better weekend. For right now, it's a Friday. And yeah, hopefully I'll talk to you awesome people soon. I'm going to start doing videos like this, I think, since this is my first one. And I'll reorganize the order into a more digestible order. The main point I needed to make, though, was out of excitement of learning of another couple that aren't into the whole show and dance. That's cool. I like that shit. So anyways, take care. I gotta get in there. Take care. Have a very good day. Hopefully we'll talk soon. Keep it all spiritual. You got it in you. All right. And I hope you grow.